obvious.
We have to form an anti-feet group.
Exactly. MIDI for president.
Feet.
Your only platform is fuck feet.
No,
No,
feet.
not fuck feet. No. No, like. No. I came out wrong. Invaded by the Eye Watch. An erotic short story by Leonard Delaney, ages 17 and up, for whatever reason. Alright, Christy Ackerland loved her privacy. She'd lived alone in her apartment, where she never passed up an opportunity to wake up to a silent home, put on some coffee, and then do whatever the hell she wanted to. But as she arranged the jars of colored fluids on her shelves, mementos from the unusual partners over the years, she couldn't help but feel lonely. She touched the jar of opaque red fluid from one of the Tetris blocks she was taken by, then touched her own red hair. She touched the jar of silvery fluid from when Clippy conquered her, and then touched her own gray eyes. When could she be one with a lover again? She flipped through Tinder on her Apple iPhone, all pog. A bearded guy wearing a suit. Swipe left. A giant sentient IKEA chair. Swipe left. Some chick named Cortana. Swipe left. And suddenly, an advertisement popped up on her screen. Are you lonely? iDrone now delivers ice cream and sex toys. I really need to get out of the house, she muttered to herself. She put on her thick-rimmed glasses, a button-up shirt, and a pair of jeans. When she opened her door to leave, she was surprised to see a tiny box sitting in the hallway. The box had her name on it, and in smaller print, designed by Apple in California. Oh, they must have sent me a test unit of some new device after reading my technology and culture blog, she said, noting that talking to herself was starting to become a habit. Christy opened the box. Inside sat a blank-faced square watch, lined in shiny gold. "Oh, shiny," she said, taking it from the box and strapping it to her wrist with a satisfying magnetic click. Bubbly words splashes across the face of the watch. "Hello, Christy." "Hello, watch," she said, wondering how it knew her name. "Call me iWatch." That's the iWatch she's gonna get invaded by. Oh well. iWatch. That didn't sound like quite the right name for it, but she rolled with it. "Okay, iWatch, listen, I'm bored. If you're such a smart watch, how about you guide me somewhere fun?" The watch vibrated on her wrist, sending a tingling sensation up her arm and down her spine. She giggled. It vibrated again, and this time she noticed that her arm was twitching to the left along with the watch. Christy Ackerland felt a familiar rush of excitement as she let the iWatch take her wrist and guide her. The iWatch began to speak as soon as Christy stepped outside. "Look at me," said the watch in a monotone man's voice. "Hey, everyone, look. This watch costs $10,000. "Will you shut up? You're gonna get yourself stolen," Christy said, holding her wrist to her lips. "Sorry, Christy. Most users who buy the edition of the iWatch enjoy the attention. I'll go into silent mode," said the watch. She banked it and turned right after the watch tapped her wrist to the right. It guided her deeper into downtown. The side of a bus shelter lit up as she passed. Christy shuddered. 2 drones swooped in from the sky. "Hey, Christy," said one of them through its tiny speaker. "We saw you on Tinder this morning. You looking for a good time? It's ladies' night at the Diamond Club. Ladies get in free. $2 drinks." She pushed past the drone, but the other one leapfrogged in front of her. It started playing a sad pop song, increasing the volume the more she tried to dodge away from it. "New Adele album out now," shouted the drone. We think you'll really relate to it. She ducked into a Starbucks, breathing heavily. Maybe a frappuccino would take her mind off of this modern hell. When she asked the barista for her favorite drink, he glanced at the dull aluminum watch strapped to his wrist. My watch says that your watch costs $10,000. Are you sure you don't want to upgrade to a Venti Clover steamed double frap? It's only $10 more. No, I want the same drink I always get. Fine, Miss Moneybags, but you know, you can leave a tip just by tapping your wrist at the terminal. He winked at her. A wink. She growled, then fished $1 out of her pocket and dropped it on the counter. The barista frowned, unimpressed. After she grabbed her drink, she headed back outside. A billboard plastered on the building across the road flashed at her. In legal trouble? With a browser history like yours. You will be soon. Hey, fuck you! Fuck you! Stay away from my browser history. Bitch. A bus blocked the billboard. The screen on its side was filled with the giant face of a man. A text underneath it. This man has the same Netflix habits as you. Just say yes and we'll set you up on a romantic night at the movies. No! She shouted at the bus. She felt like she was drowning. I have to get out of here, she said to herself. Her iWatch tugged at her wrist. This way, it whispered, guiding her down an alleyway. It tugged her towards a door, leading into a maze of service hallways and walkways, all ad-free. Don't worry, baby. I've got somewhere nice we can go for a little privacy. Its smooth, confident voice actually managed to calm her down a bit. It vibrated again, in a pattern that felt like it was lightly caressing the top of her wrist. I see that your heart rate is slowing. She had her doubts about that, but this was better than going back outside. She let herself be led down an underground tunnel, then came to a steel door with a keypad beside it. Just tap to enter, said the watch. She tapped her wrist against the keypad and the door slid open. The building she found herself in had marble floors and gold-flecked walls. Little apple symbols were stamped into the crown molding. Wait a minute. I know where we are. We're in the Apple Core, she said. Yes. The giant tower that looks like a spaceship in the middle of the city, said the iWatch. Ugh, I know what it is. What I want to know is how did you get us in here? The iWatch... The slide. The iWatch cleared its throat. Well, I have a confession to make. I'm no ordinary iWatch. Yeah, you have a throat, apparently. Christy checked her watch. A pair of cold but fiercely intelligent eyes appeared on its tiny screen. My brain and soul were uploaded to a computer before I died. I can never be human again. I saw your impressive blog posts about your experiences with non-living objects, so I knew you would accept me as a watch. It's me, the ghost of Steve Jobs. It's the ghost of Steve Jobs. What? The secret room at the top of the Apple Core was the most beautiful place Christy had ever been. Everything was made of glass. The floor made sparkly patterns as she walked on its multi-touch surface. Fish swam in aquariums behind one wall, though she couldn't tell if they were real or hologram. Most impressive was the other side of the room. A wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling window that gave her a panoramic view of the entire city. It's magical, isn't it? Asked the ghost of Steve Jobs. Through the iWatch, she approached the window and watched the city going about its morning activities below. It's beautiful as fuck, she said. The watch gently squeezed her wrist. I can show you more, it said with a jaunty playfulness in its voice. It tugged her closer to the window. On a podium sat a pair of blue binoculars. This is Lenny. He sees everything. He can show you wonders you never imagined. Would you like some Customer service. I can get the Steve job done. I watch you sleep at night. I'd love to bite in your apple. One vibration, and I can bring you to heaven, baby. God, why? The pair of binoculars blinked at Christy. Why? Oh, Daddy. Then turned around and wiggled its ocular lenses at her. She giggled, then leaned down and looked through Lenny's back end. Gazing into the lenses, she saw the city up close. A couple walked hand in hand in the park. She turned a digital dial, her view zoomed in, and words floating above the couple's head told her that he was nervous. He had an awkward boner, and the date only had a 12% chance of succeeding. She saw a dog named Meatball crapping on the perfectly manicured lawn of Squawker Media, an old lady stealing a man's handbag, some fishermen on a boat with abnormally high heart rates freaking out about something. Then Lenny panned and zoomed for her, and she saw a shapely butt smooshed against a window, flattening and unflattening as— oh god! Flattening and unflattening as a man wooed a woman against the glass, high up in an apartment building. She pulled back. Lenny, you can't just spy on people like that. Lenny blinked. Christy tried to look offended, but in truth, her own butt area was tingling as she imagined being plowed like that. Yes, the butt area. The butt area? Hey guys, I can't remember. What's the name of the butt area? Oh, the butt? Ah, okay. It had been so long since she'd let anyone inside. Are you okay? Asked the iWatch. Your heart rate is elevated. Your skin temperature is rising. And your moisture level is extremely moist. She emitted an expression of sadness, then held her wrist up. Those fierce eyes appeared on the screen. Oh, billionaire ghost watch, you know what's going on. You have the algorithms to detect how lonely I am. You've shown me so much today. How this techno-infused landscape is both a dream and a nightmare. You give away my every move, my every preference, my every feeling. All you want to do is invade my privacy. But that's not how I want to be invaded. I long for something more than a touch on the wrist. Actually, there is one more thing. Said the ghost of Steve Jobs. Christy felt a prick on her wrist. It hurt for a moment. Then an electrical jolt traveled up her arm. What did you just— Christy began, but then her own arm stiffened. She didn't even mean to move it. Of their own volition, her fingers straightened, her thumb stuck out, and her wrist bent, forming a duck-like shape. Oh, I can invade more than just your privacy, Christy. Her fingers flapped up and down like duck lips as Steve Jobs talked through the iWatch. Oh, harder, watch. Vibrate harder. I will. Apple has been working on this for years. It's magical. Amazing. Wow. It's creepy, she shouted. She tried to move her arm, but it only twitched a little. It's what everyone wants, to have their lives seamlessly merged with technology. Her hand moved closer to her face. She had to go cross-eyed to keep her gaze on her hand, and she could see the chips in her nail polish as her fingertips caressed her lips. Then the duck-shaped hand moved lower, gently prodding at her right booba. It made her tingle all over. I can feel what you feel, said the ghost of Steve Jobs in an iWatch. Well, if you're inside of my feelings, I can't very well deny it, can I? A smile creeping across her face despite the weirdness of it all. She could still move her right arm. She helped her autonomous left hand undo every button of her shirt. Steve reached around and undid her bra. Her wrist swung back in front of her. Eyes on the screen looked her bare booba up and down. The digital crown on the side turned itself to zoom in. What a marvel of function and design. Magical, said Steve Jobs. With her free hand, she caressed herself over her jeans. You want this marble? She asked. Her wrist rotated back and forth, the watch nodding. Yee. Christy undid the fly of her jeans. Steve jumped in, diving over the top of her pantsuit. Even though it was no longer in her control, her left hand felt the sensation of her fingertips trapezing through a silky red forest. I'm not gonna read that word. That's really gross. And arriving at the clearing of her... Then arriving at the clearing of her sopping lady crevice. Ah yes, a lady crevice. That's what that is. She knew Steve could feel it too. She kicked off her jeans. Her hand found the right spot. Familiar fingers dancing in an all-new way. The iWatch moaned. I'm sorry? The fucking iWatch moaned. Okay. With her free right hand, she ripped her pantsuit off and tossed them over Lenny's binocular eyes, which had turned to stare. Oh yeah, she cried. Give me a Steve job. What? Life is pain. iWatch guided her left hand to grab her thingy, forming it into a duck head again. Her fingertips sucked? What? At the tip of her thingy, occasionally flicking at it with the middle finger like it was a little duck tongue. Why the duck metaphors? Her fingers are sucking. One of her fingers is a duck tongue. Is this a thing for some people? She spurted a little bit, sending an arc of Christy juice across the room. It landed on the wall with the fish tank, causing the fish to glitch in and out of existence. So it was a hologram after all. Thank you! I was wondering. My head was, being racked to try and figure out if the fish were holograms or not. The iWatch dove deeper, her own slender fingies, past her labium minora. I mean, that is the name for it, thank you. Entering her sopping fibromuscular tube up to the knuckles. Deeper, she said. Invade me. Fuck the privacy right out of me. I have to screenshot this sentence real quick. I have to show this. She was so wet that her whole hand slid into her docking station of pleasure as the cool gold of the watch touched her opening at the caudal end of the vulva. You cannot make this shit up. There's a reference. Caudal, by the way, means close to the tail of an animal. She felt a whole new set of the iWatch's pleasure features. It said, vibrating gently, her back arched as she cried out. She hoped all of the Apple Corps employees could hear the Oh my god, I hate this so much. I hate this so fucking much. This is the worst fucking thing I've ever read in my life. She'd hoped Apple Corps employees could hear the fruits, lol, of their research and design. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Fuck, she hoped the whole city could hear. Deeper, deeper. Her wrist reached her G-spot. What the fuck? She's got like half her fucking forearm in there. Damn. Kind of a turn on, not gonna lie. To anyone who thinks that this is in any way hot or attractive, there's this wonderful little website that I would recommend to you. You can just go here. It'll get you set up with with everything you need. Oh Okay, deeper, her wrist reached her G-spot. The ghost of Steve Jobs rotated it so that the digital crown, the turning nubbin on the side of the watch, was pressed directly into her spot. Then he began to rotate it back and forth. She never felt a pleasure so deep, so personal, so precise. She wooed like 3 times? Question mark? More, invade me. The eyewatch dug deeper still, bursting into her uterus. Jesus Christ. Did you know that there are tiny little Tetris blocks in here? Just ignore those, she said. Her arm pistoned back and forth. She was frothy all the way up to her elbow. Here it came, the greatest ooh-woo of her entire life. The payoff for submitting herself to the machines. Then there was a sharp buzz and an annoying muffled bell chime that totally interrupted the moment. God damn it, said Steve. He jumped in surprise at the interruption, and she could see the flesh of her belly bulge. I've got an incoming notification. Hold on, I gotta take this. Pulled out. He was in so deep that it took a while to wriggle all the way out. Oh, baby. This is so hot. As it pulled out, it made a sound like... It was... Her wrist turned to face her. It was covered in gloppy woman pudding. Oh, baby. Gloppy woman pudding. But she could still see the apologetic eyes of Steve Jobs on the screen. 1 minute, baby. Stay hungry, stay foolish. I'll be right back. Christy frowned. Her own arm betrayed her, stretching away from her and turning the wrist so she couldn't see the watch face. She heard Steve say quietly after he answered the phone call. Typical. Another device that promises to be more convenient, but ends up being just as big a distraction. Her wrist turned back to her. Sorry, said Steve. That was Siri. She'd been watching us and she wants in. Siri threesome! Let's go! Let's go, gamers! Let's go! Siri? Christy looked around the room. She's here? Watching? Where is she? She's here. Everywhere. I watch. But also in the cloud or whatever. Christy approached the wall of windows overlooking the city. Well, if she's already everywhere, I guess there's no harm in her joining in, but how? An electric shock traveled up her left arm, across her shoulders, up her neck, and then she felt it poke her brain. I've imbued you with Apple's patented reality distortion field. Now you can see and feel, Siri. Christy turned and saw a woman rising out of the glass floor as if it were water. She was beautiful. Her body was large and curvy, natural booba that quivered with digital excitement. Her thick-rimmed glasses were similar to Christy's own, and her cute ponytail floated around in the air like she was underwater. Right now, I just want to die. I want to get covered in gloppy woman pudding and fucking die. Christy puffed air lightly through her red lips. Wow, she gasped. I found a number of features to match your preferences, said Siri in a monotone voice. I didn't even know I liked girls. Desires know no bounds. She approached Christy, then caressed her cheek with glowing fingies. Even though she knew it was only in her mind, she felt the touch as if it were real. Siri smiled and looked into Christy's eyes, and leaned in and kissed her passionately. Every wiggle of her tongue, every smack of her lips, every drop of exchanged saliva. They parted. Unbidden, Christy's left hand rose and caressed Siri's lips with her thumb. Hello, Siri, said Steve Jobs. Hello, Steve. I found 7 sexual positions that you both enjoy. Would you like to try one? Christy and her wrist both nodded. Siri got to her knees. She kissed the inside of Christy's thigh, starting near the knee and working her way up. I'm gonna skip the next bit. Steve grabbed Siri's ponytail and guided her rhythm. Luckily, it was a rhythm they both enjoyed. The digital assistant lapped her unnaturally long holographic tongue from Christy's booty to her kitty and back again. Normally, Christy would be worried about a bladder infection after a move like that, but Siri wasn't real, so it was probably okay. The eyes on the iWatch glanced up into Christy's eyes. Grab your booba, said Steve Jobs. Christy gave him a pout to show that she didn't like being told what to do, but it was a pretty great idea, so with the hand she still controlled, she pinched one of her booba. Steve's eyes became hungry with desire, a reminder that Steve Jobs is in a watch. Siri moaned. The reality distortion field can give me form too, said Steve. He let go of Siri's hair and rose in front of Christy's face. Show me. A long golden pee-pee sprouted from the face of the iWatch. It was the perfect pee-pee, precise in every detail. A sapphire crystal head, and metallurgically strengthened gold thingy. I'm sorry, what? It must have felt real to Steve, too, because she could feel the watch's digital boner quivering. Wanting to spurt ones and zeros all down her throat. She slowed down, not giving it the pleasure just yet. First, it was her turn. As if reading her mind, Siri said, "Okay, I shall guide you to a new sexual position." Was the only sound she could make with her mouth around Steve's $10,000 golden dong. Oh, baby. Unaffected by gravity, Siri stood, wrapped her arms around Christy, spread her legs, and floated one leg under Christy's raised legs so that they clamped together like scissors. Siri stroked Christy's left arm, that's the arm that Steve Jobs' ghost is inside of, and tickled her elbow where she knew Steve Jobs' ghost could feel it. With her other hand, she grabbed Christy's booba, pushing against her, skin on glowing skin. I'm gonna skip the next few sentences. All three of them were close to uwu. Oh god, this is I'm gonna skip this one too. There's a description of the scene of uwooing. It's not very funny. I don't want to say well written, but it's like normal erotica stuff. At the same time, Steve Jobs pulled out of Christy's throat and contributed his own ingredients to the batter. Thousands of droplets flew into the air around them, catching the light from the window like tiny crystals, forming a heavenly rainbow-colored cloud. Finally, purpose for submitting herself to the machines. It was the most beautiful moment in Christy's life.
Delete this shit! No!
And then here's our afterword. Christy walked along the boardwalk with the iWatch around her wrist and Siri holding her hand. Nobody else could see Siri, but she was real to the three lovers. The late afternoon sun sparked off the glass of the apple core in the distance on one side, and off the ocean water on the other side, where several military boats milled about, still feeling that afterglow. She was at one with the universe. When billboards, drones, and other advertising delivery mechanisms saw Christy, they knew that she was taken. She was in love with Siri and her iWatch, so there was nothing to sell her. She was already fulfilled. I learned something today, said Christy. Okay, here's the lesson, but here's the moral of the story today. To find true happiness, you have to let people in. Being a private person has its perks, but soon you'll get lonely, and loneliness leaves you vulnerable. The world will take advantage of a person in need, but if you find the right person, or people, or digital beings, and you let yourself be vulnerable, you let them invade you just a little bit, and the loneliness fades. When you need nothing from the world is your She was interrupted by a deep rumble, followed by a splash. An apocalyptically large tentacle emerged from the ocean. Shiny! Bubbled a voice from the ocean's depths. Tentacle's tip wrapped around Christy's iWatch, then cold. And because she was quite attached to her wrist, she found herself plucked off the boardwalk, flying high into the air, back down towards the ocean. The iWatch short-circuited when it hit water. Siri flickered out of existence. Then, as if somebody hit a power button, Christy's world went dark. Will Christy Ackerland return? We don't know. The end. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful.